because the notion of majority in Malaysia is different from the rest of the world. In Malaysia, when it comes to voting politically, the Malay vote majority. But the same Malays, when it comes to economy, they don't earn as much as the small group of Chinese. So for me, macam di Indonesia. In Indonesia, 75% of Indonesia's richness owned by 10% in Indonesia. So you don't have to have physical body to become majority in economy. You just need share. So the notion of majority in Malaysia is not only in number. It's not correct. In Malaysia, the majorities means majority in terms of numbers and majority in terms of ownership are two different meaning and have two different groups of people controlling it. If they say Malay hegemony in politics, I would say openly Chinese hegemony in business. Finish. You tell me I'm wrong. Okay. The other thing is I always ask people. We always talk about 30% Malays. We have this, we have that. I say yes, 30%. Some of them are very corrupt also, they got it 30%. But why don't we talk about who gets the 70%? Nobody. No research, nothing. So for me, why talk about 30% when the other 70% is not being discussed? Why do we quarrel about the 30% when the 70% is already got it? Do the people with the 70% wants the other 30%? That one got problem lah.
I thought we misuse.
Fine. So you think the 70% didn't abuse?
That we don't know.
Because we don't study. We are already abusing our power to study very pejoratively and very prejudicially in one area. And I would protest with that. I always protest that. I said, the economic planning unit, you must study also who gets the 70%. How do they get the 70%? Corruption? Do they get the 70%? All of them are fit? I'm not quite sure. So, you see, because 95%, I know, 95% the studies in Malaysia on NEP, they never study who gets the 70%. They always study why Malays don't get that, and why they shouldn't, or they already got asli or whatever it is. For me, this is a bit a joke lah. A joke. Academics are a joke. They are not serious. That's why I call it, the knowledge in Malaysia is ethnicized knowledge. And they're not very happy with me. Because I'm very open. I said, look, you're academic, you got statistics, you are professor of economics, you study 30%. I accept the fact that every 10 million ringgit for a project, 30% goes to Malay, because the Malay doesn't even know how to build a house. He only knows how to get the license. So he get the license, he get the money, he get the spoil, he got a wife, buy 2 cars, another wife, another house. That's all he does. So bad, we call it rent capitalist. Who gets the other 8 million? 10 million, the Malays will get 3 million. Who gets the other 7? Are we studying this? No. I haven't seen any work that study this. I've been here in the academic world. I got my master's in 76. After the second Malaysia plan, I studied second Malaysia plan for my master's. How it is implemented, the problems. We always talk about the 30%. We never talk how we reduce poverty from 50 to 5%. Also from NEP. So that means we are facing people who complain. Half blind and half deaf. And that's what we are facing. Malaysians, and most likely a politician or academician who are too clever for themselves. But the ordinary people feel these consequences. They feel very unhappy because they are being drummed into their ears. So that's why, in a way, whenever I give a seminar and talk everywhere, I'm talking about the price of peace and how we actually benefit. So people say, oh, ni lain lah cerita. Because kita ni macam tak cukup lah. Semua nak lebih belakang. Saya kata, kalau ditarik semua subsidi ni, korang tak makan tau, saya cakap. Di Malaysia ni, tak makan. Why? Gula naik RM3 1 kilo. Petrol naik RM6 satu liter. Di US, $4 1 liter. I just came back from New York. $4, I can see the sign. 4 kali
12.
4 kali 3. 12 ringgit 1 liter. So for me, sometimes when we talk over the conflict in Malaysia, we actually forget. We are fearful of conflict, so we talk about conflict. But actually we talk a lot about conflict. And that's why the outside reporters or journalists always get the wind of the discussion but never the reality. Because there are 2 weeks here. Duduk Crown Plaza Hotel, Hilton. And they talk, everyone talks conflict. So that's what they write. But if they live in Malaysia for another 6 months, then they will realize. And I would like them to live in Sri Lanka before for 6 months or somewhere, then come to Malaysia. Then they will know. It's a different scene.
So you're talking about NATO lah?
Yeah.
No action talk only?
Yes. Mostly. So, but people don't believe that happened in Malaysia. I remember still, we have a joint degree with Duisburg University. Okay? German. Our student get UKM degree and Duisburg University. Okay, they come back. Then the professors come here. And they came to look for me. I was in Atma at that time, Institute Alam dan Tamadun Melayu, and asked me, where can I learn about Malaysian culture? I said, why do you want to learn about our culture? I have nothing to learn about engineering here, because you come and learn from me. But we can't even handle the Turkish in Germany. We only like them to play football and represent Germany. But we don't like them. Why? But how come in Malaysia, you are all so different? You all like, you eat each other's food, you borrow each other. Oh, Malaysians don't see that. I said, you see that from outside. People in Malaysia, they don't see that. Why? They're only thinking, oh, I cannot get out of this room. They only see what they are every day. So they ask me, so what is the formula of this success? I said, there's no formula. We are only Formula 1. I said, no, there's no formula. The only formula is, I can give you an indication. We go to work, we suspend all these differences for 8 hours. Plus traffic jam, plus American Idol, we have no time to fight.
After they gone?
After gone. 3/4 gone.
They got to go to sleep.
Sleep. And that sleep is also important to some ethnic group, because some numbers may come up during their sleep to buy another ticket tomorrow. Well, they want us to do want to repeat this and apply this in other countries. Just as test case first. Trouble area like Sri Lanka and all this. So we are trying to seek funding, because in order to do that, we have to find our own funding. The UN will not fund just like that. They will support with people, with all this, and like say if we go to Sri Lanka, the UNSCR, whatever, they will support us. But we must use that as a test case for ourselves, because we are doing the experiment. They will allow, they will support, they will give permission, which is good enough for us.
So you're trying to test it, whether it is
workable in some other places. Because it is generic enough, it is general enough that can be applied somewhere else, and we may have to adjust accordingly. So in a way, if it works, it's Malaysia we get the name, not me.
So are you moving ahead?
We are trying to arrange to go to Sri Lanka in the first place, because Sri Lanka probably needs us to think about this. And then we also think of going to Indonesia, because we got a lot of Indonesian students, so we want Indonesian to test them in Indonesia. So it's a bit like testing this formula somewhere else lah. I hate to use the word formula, but something like that lah. This framework, this structure, this procedure, we have patented it. So if we can succeed, then who knows, UN may adopt it, and the moment they adopt it, the Human Development Report adopts it, Malaysia become a truly an example. I mean, it's incredible if they can do that. So, but we have to invest lah. We have to invest. We have to be fair, because we cannot expect them to finance things that they are not clear, But I said, I have no problem.
get any support for this testing?
I have a different position. I'm not really worried about the Malaysian government because I would like this to be independent university thing. And
I'm talking in terms of financing it.
no, UKM has already given the money, which is part of Malaysian government anyway.
Okay.
So they gave me RM500,000. Okay, the Ministry of under Kosokun promises me 400,000. So I think they are giving us money, but it's not much lah, because you need a lot of money to do this. You need research assistant, you need equipment, and you have to do it at least once a year or twice a year. Then only they become useful. And better still every 4 months or 3 months or every month. But then it costs money. So once we have routinized and make a clear framework, then I think a lot of people will chip in. Why don't we use the peaceful money for this, so that we can keep more peace? This is my logic lah. So they seem to be slowly Max Onkili thinks that this is a good project. So the moment I get this, because I want to go into Science and Technology Ministry to say that we need R&D, we need social R&D, because we do a lot of social engineering. Now, we're not only scientific R&D. So what is the component of the R&D? Mesra, one of them.